guys, it's Becca, and it is day 2 of my, 12 days of videos thingy. Today, I have my dad. You've seen him. He reacted to Nico and the Niners and Jumpsuit. And today he's reacting to Neon Gravestones. He listened to it before, but I wanted to refresh his memory because the last time that we talked about it, he had a lot of good things that he said, so I figured we would make a video for you guys. So, you have the floor. What do you think?
That's a tough one. He's making an effort to tell a very important message to his heart that our priorities are messed up. That we, there's certain lines in there. I don't remember them word for word, but we get our indoctrination through social media, through mainstream media, through popular doctrine, if you will, or through popularity and things like that, when sometimes right isn't popular. That's kind of what I hear from the whole thing. It's like, why don't you just, instead of doing what the crowd says to do, instead of why don't you just be an individual? Why don't you just follow your heart? Now that's his idea, and of course my whole take on that is there's no place in the Bible that says you're supposed to follow your heart. So we're supposed to follow the Messiah, but that's for another whole time. There was a few lines, obviously they were personal for him, and I don't understand because I don't know his personal story. There's a song from way back in the 70s by Simon and Garfunkel, and they say, and the people bowed and prayed to the neon gods they made. It's in the song Sound of Silence. And Neon Gravestones, it's like we're exalting. All I see is we're putting death before life. We're putting death in bright lights. That's what a gravestone is. A gravestone simply says, well, here lies, and this was how long he was here, and now he's in the ground. But we're somehow exalting the aspect of death when there is actually a life that needs to be lived.
What did you think? Because I know that the last time we talked about it, you had a lot to say about the line. How can he go if he's got everything, I'll mourn for a kid but won't cry for a king. I remember that, you talked about that for 10 minutes.
Say it again.
How can he go if he's got everything, I'll mourn for a kid but won't cry for a king?
Well, see, when I hear that, I hear a reference to the Messiah. I hear the reference to the king, to the true king. That's where my heart goes. I don't know what he's saying. Is he saying, you mourn for a kid, but you won't cry? Is he talking about a more important person on this earth when he says that? What is he talking about?
Honestly, I didn't look too much into it yet. For me, personally, I take it as, he's saying that we mourn certain people and we don't mourn others, and we see people who are supposed to have everything. How could they be depressed? How could they be struggling when they have everything? That's how I took it, okay, personally. But I know for everyone it's different.
I could see that. See, I look at it. I look at it as, and quite honestly, I mean, I could go down a bunch of different rabbit trails with that whole mourn for a kid thing, but I won't. Yeah. Cry for a king. Wow. Yeah. He knows what he's saying. Obviously, he knows what he's saying. This one to me seems like a more personal song for him. It's more of a, this is my opinion on the matter, and this is how I'm going to express it. And I know he's usually pretty good at that with the stuff that I've heard from him. I mean, I don't follow them at all. The only thing I hear from them is the stuff you play for me. But it's not my genre, so to speak. But I just hear that. Why do we spend so much time exalting death, exalting, depression, and our troubles and all these other things. Why are we so focused on everybody else's business when we should be more focused on ourselves? And that's the kind of the stuff that I hear. The way they write is very specific. It's very specific to them. I mean, they use a lot of different craft when they write a song. You know, when I write songs, I have different ways of writing songs too. Different chords will come up, different drum beats will come up, but they don't ever have a song that sounds anywhere remotely close to the same. They do different things in all their songs, you know, so which is good. That's creativity. He's a very creative writer. You know, but this one was a little bit harder for me to figure out because it's so much more personal to him. Mm-hmm. You know, I kind of felt like the other ones you played for me were more like there's a message for the listener to receive here, but this one was more just him expressing himself. It was more an opinion. Now, right or wrong, it depends on what you believe, but I think it's more of he's expressing himself. But I take the Neon Gravestones thing as we put death and darkness and depression and destruction and bright lights all throughout the media, all throughout, even at a family. I mean, you go to a family dinner and you hear what topics come up just when you're sitting eating dinner with your family. If you're even, you know, blessed enough to sit and have dinner as a family, which most people don't get to do anymore. And some people don't want to have dinner with their family because their families are dysfunctional. I get that, but you know, but I eat a lot of my meals alone, and so I sit and I reflect with Father, with God, and there are so many scriptures that say life and death's the power of the tongue. Speak life so you and your seed, you and your family can live, and that's kind of what I hear at the end. Why don't you find, and when he says the grandparents at the end, you know, find somebody who's walked the path and look that they paved the path for you, or however that goes at the end. It's like that's difficult for people who are hurting. Because if you really think about it, a lot of the reasons why we are the way we are, and I'm not coming down on anybody's families or anything else, but a lot of it's generational. There's generational stuff, you know, so what he's saying there, it's very difficult for somebody who's hurting because of their family to turn to their family for comfort. But in the Bible, it says when you become a believer, you are now part of a bigger family. That's the family I tend to go to when I'm in that place where I want to introspect, or when I'm struggling or something like that, rather than exalting and putting in neon lights the death and the depression. I'm going to exalt what's good, what's going on right now, and then you speak it out, and your words actually can create or destroy. See, that's what people, and a lot of people that write songs don't understand that. They are mixing lyrics and words with vibration and frequency, and they do it very differently because they have a lot of different sounds. He's very creative in how he expresses music, but we have to understand when you put words, which are, and pardon me again, but this is the truth. How God created the world, he spoke it. He said, let there be light, and light was. All sound emits light. So when you release a word, you are releasing either light or you can release darkness. He's got to be careful what he's releasing, because he's now mixing his words with his sound and with his song, and there is power. And that's why music has so much power to people. That's why music can bring up stuff that maybe never was brought up before emotionally. And you listen to a chord progression, part of a song. You know how you'll hear part of a song and you start crying. Mm-hmm. Like, why am I crying right now? Because something's being pulled out of you by that light, by that sound, and it's connecting with you. So we have to understand that our words, when you mix them with frequency, I didn't know I was going here. I so love talking about this. This is what I preach about when I preach. This is so important. And music is so, so powerful. It's one of the most powerful things in the entire universe. And he made it that way. But we have a choice. We can either speak light and life, or we can speak darkness or death. Hallelujah.
Is that everything that you have to say?
Mm-hmm.
So
one more thing. Can I say one more thing? Regarding the neon light and the, you know, what are we putting in lights? What are we putting out there for everybody else to see? Getting back to that whole thing, all sound emits light. When a child is conceived, there's a flash of light that happens every time a child is conceived. That has been proven by science. When that thing that happens, there is a flash of light. Therefore, at some point, when a child is conceived, there's a sound. So basically, in your DNA, in my DNA, in your DNA, there is an encrypted sound. And you can either speak that sound and be one with the creator of the universe, with Yahuwah, with God, or you can speak darkness and be in line and in tune with the darkness.
So I hope you guys liked this video. Hope it was interesting for you to watch. If you've seen the other videos, you know that he what? I don't know how to explain it. Like, because you think differently than like other people. So like,
oh,
and I know,
yes, I do.
and I know people like to hear other perspectives, especially with those like 21 Pilot songs. People like, because a lot of people believe they have a lot of biblical like references in it, and so like when someone else is like you, who is seeing their side of it, like people like that. Like a lot of my friends with the first video that we made, they loved it. They're like I see what he's saying. Like,
no, I liked your take on that whole kid and king thing, though. That's the truth.
So I hope you guys liked the video. Hope you liked watching, and yeah, I will see ya. So I'll see you tomorrow.
I've rendered her speechless.
Bye. Stop. Bye.